Hi, and welcome to this week's episode. I'm so excited to have Meg Ellis and Kelly Workman here with me, and we just got back from our retreat in Costa Rica. So we're just going to chat about what it was like, because I know a lot of you were not able to come, or some people were like, I'm not sure about this retreat thing. So we're just going to walk through what it was like. So what would you say just in a few words, the experience, and then we'll go through it in some detail?
Oh my, a few words. I don't even know if a few words could capture it, because it was, if I could pick one word, it would just be magical. And you really do have to be there to fully experience it. So I hope we do a good job relaying what it was like, because it truly is just a once-in-a-lifetime experience that is so unique and curated with the energy of the people who are there. It was just magical. If I could pick a word, it would be magical.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know what my word would be. Yeah. It was fun.
It was fun.
We had so much fun and magical.
Yeah, I think it's hard to pick one word. I really feel connection. Yeah. I feel like we were so connected in the beginning, just feeling each other out and figuring out what we're going to say and do. By the end, we were all like a love fest, just so connected.
Right.
Yeah. It was amazing.
25 people, right? So really, without exception, if they were all here, I think they would tell the same story about this feeling of kind of magic, fun connection.
Yes.
So let's just kind of walk through it. This was fun because Kelly and I flew on one plane. So we flew on the Southwest flight to Costa Rica. Meg happened to already be there because she was already doing a retreat. So we started off uneven on the plane.
Yeah.
So there were 5 guests on our plane and then maybe 10 or 12 on the other plane. But so this 5 in our group were already like having a love fest by the time we got to the resort on Friday afternoon. So it wasn't in any way feeling weird. Yeah. I know the people on the other plane felt the same. There were maybe 10 or 12 of them, and some people already there.
Right, that mutual feeling of excitement and something fun and something big is about to happen, and that connection happens before you even get there. So you show up and it's just already magical. Right?
Yeah. So we got there with our group, and then there was another group already there. And this is Friday afternoon. Meg had already gotten there too, so we're all kind of there and sort of anticipating what's going to happen. Of course, the weather is fantastic. And then what's the place like? Your first drive in, I mean, this resort is beautiful. What was your impression when you first got there?
It's so close to the airport. It was fantastic.
Like 15 minutes.
But then when you drove in, it was like you were in another world. You were like on Fantasy Island, if you ever watched that show. It was just magical and tropical. So beautiful.
Yeah. It's so green. Well, of course, it was right at the end of the rainy season. So green. Just beautiful plants and flowers and trees. And then the beach is right there in front. So I think the first impression was like, oh, wow, this place is so
stunning.
Nice.
And it was stunning. It was the place itself is just beautiful, but even just the topography and the foliage and just the nature is just it was secluded, but it was serene. I feel like, especially with the pool that they have made that pointed right towards the beach, it was just serene.
And don't forget the sounds of the birds and the smells that you smelled when you went through. It was just beautiful. Yeah. You just felt so at peace and relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, instant calming just because of the, what's around you.
Yeah, the environment was amazing. So we chose this resort, but I have actually never hosted an event there before, so you kind of never know. Yeah. I think we all had some sort of medium expectations, like maybe it won't be quite so perfect, but it was like up here.
Oh, yes.
Actually, way better than I thought it would be.
Right? Yeah. The pictures did not do it justice.
Yeah, really amazing. So great place. And then it was really quite small. I don't know how many guests they have total. I mean, our group was, I don't know, it felt like half of the people there. Yeah. I mean, it's a small little place. So everything's very easy to find. And so our group felt, I don't know, maybe they have 100 guests total. The 25 of us were a big chunk of it, for sure. So.
It was hard to tell because while it was secluded and just beautiful, and it felt like we didn't really see a lot of guests because there were multiple pools, multiple restaurants.
Right.
It didn't feel overwhelmingly large, but it was just enough to spread everybody out so you just weren't really on top of each other.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Not, the places that you go where you have to get up early and save a chair at the pool. Not at all like that. I mean, there's just so much space and places to go. So then, let's see if we can remember, because so many things happen in this short period of time. So we met everybody in the afternoon. The group got together and we did a tour of the facility, which was just fun to see where everything was.
That was so helpful.
The spa.
Yeah.
The spa was
spa,
beautiful.
Yes. Everybody got to go to the spa, but we got to see it. And then
outdoor spa too. Indoor, outdoor, but
yeah, you could get massages outside. Amazing.
That was nice.
That was nice.
nice.
So they had these really cool meeting spaces, all different kinds. And the first one was in this beautiful tropical garden. There could have been no one else in the whole place. I mean, they set up a circle. We'd asked them to do this, but honestly, I had no idea how they would do it. But it was just perfect, like out of my imagination.
Perfect chairs, perfect pillows, perfect everything for that
and
circle.
then
It was amazing.
Little lights. I mean, it was just a magical space. And it got dark quite early. So dark with the lights. And so we had some drinks and played some really funny games.
And I liked that. I always describe the first night of a retreat like, if you ever went to summer camp as a kid, you know, you're dropped off and you're like, I don't know how this week's going to go.
Right.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
And everyone's a little more reserved because it's like, okay, what's the vibe going to be like? What's the connection with everyone?
Yeah.
It's like that pre-real connection. And the transition that you see over the next couple of days is just... oh, it's just amazing. So I always love that feeling of that first night of what are we about to get into? What's this going to be like? Who are these people who I'm going to be hanging out with? And just seeing the connection. You know?
Yeah, that was really fun. And being that we're all of a certain age, we played some really funny games to remember everyone's name. Most people came... most people didn't know anyone. Of course, we were lucky to know a few people, and a lot of our guests had come to previous retreats. But still, I must say, I have trouble remembering 25 people's names, but we played some silly game songs, which were hilarious. And then you could, like Mike said, just watching the defenses come down, where initially everyone's like, I'm not sure about this, and then to if you look at that versus the end, it was like...
yeah.
What a transition.
Allowing yourself to be silly and to get into it was the best.
Yeah, connecting with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're someone who's never gone on a retreat, it's like, who am I connecting with? Why do I even want to connect with these people? It's really about connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
And having your own defenses come down.
That's
and then that just allows others to come in and come to you, and it's just this really beautiful experience to watch and be a part of.
So then we had our first meal, and I this food, I'm telling you, better than I've had it. I will just say better than I've ever had at any retreat. I honestly can't think of having better food anywhere, period. It was just that good. And we were all surprised because, buffet food is often kind of I mean, this was off the chain great. They had, we had asked them to serve healthy food because we're all health conscious, but they had, one or two different types of fantastic protein, grilled fish or chicken, always fish. We just had so much fish. Yeah. And then fantastic vegetables and sides. I mean, it was amazing food, I would say. And you could eat it to your heart's content without breaking any kind of dietary rules that you might be following. So that was a nice surprise. And they have this gorgeous private room that we had the first night with glass walls. I mean, just really
huge long table, stunning.
Yeah. So, and then after dinner, we had our first experience with Yaniv Shanti. Now, Shanti is not available right now. I might try calling him shortly and see where he's in Costa Rica. So we might be talking about him behind his back right now. But I don't know. How do we describe Shanti? I have spent a lot of time with him, but he hosted the first evening activity, which was happiness activation. I don't know. How can you describe happiness activation?
Well, I think it was great for the first night, too, to really, like you said, being dropped off at summer camp, you don't know these people, how are you going to react? So every activity that he had us do or song he played had such meaning behind it, but it was just meaning to, like you said, let yourself go, let your guard down and just be yourself, be free, be authentic. So I think everything he did was geared towards that. Yeah. Just really peaceful, but happy, so happy.
Right. So I hesitate to even talk about it because I think, and we will talk about it, but in a certain way, I think if I had known the first time I went to one of Shanti's things, if I had known what he was going to do, I might have been like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to go. The surprise element was sort of part of it, but just kind of, what was one of your favorite things? There were so many things that he did.
Oh boy, I really loved the invitation in a non-judgmental space to be silly.
Yeah,
that was it's so funny because I, as a life coach, I work with all kinds of people, and everybody just really wants to be their true, authentic, weird self,
right?
But also have it be accepted by others,
Yeah,
right. That's kind of what everybody wants to do, and so to have a space specifically created for that and welcomed,
yes,
it was just. I really do think that helped the group just connect and bond. One, with yourself, because how often do we do that?
And
how often do we give ourselves...
Never.
It's just funny.
And it's so true.
With no point.
When 25 people are told to say, this was one of my favorite things, and we started just doing this around the resort randomly, like make a funny face, like act surprised, act disgusted, act thinking. Like,
right.
But everybody was doing it. I mean, it sounds so silly, but it was just about being silly and, act happy. But everybody was doing it. So he has these little tricks that really are just hacks to tap into the happiness that you already have inside. And so by the end of doing this for a couple of hours in different ways, all kinds of different ways, I think everyone was pretty, sure that this was going to be fun. Because at first I had a couple of the guests, people don't know what to expect. We don't know what to expect, honestly, because the retreat, just like Meg said, is created by the people there, right? Yeah. So you get a group of people, and it'll never be the same retreat twice, because it's literally a combination of everybody's energy. Yeah. But a couple of the guests, after that first night, came up to me and said, wow, that was not what I was expecting, but it was really fun. I thought this was sort of a health and wellness retreat that they're thinking we're going to be talking about. And we did, but talking only about, exercise, nutrition. I'm like, yes, and also this.
And
it was
also
so good,
this. Whatever, how could you even describe it? I loved how Shandy had said, and it had explained in depth, but happiness is not just joy. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of different ways to be happy through different emotions and experiences. So to include all of those and put them all together was just really interesting, because I love joy, right? I love being happy, but there's all these other things and layers that you would add to it, and it really just did cultivate this true happiness within.
It really did. What was your favorite part of that first night? I mean, there's so many things that's hard to even remember.
Well, I think one of my favorite parts is, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but was whenever we had the hug exercise. Oh, yeah. Because it was so out of the box that initially it was not my favorite, I'm not going to lie. I was like, really, what? At the end, and you're super sweaty, and it was just not something I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, by the end, the way we did it and the way he instructed us to do it was just, it was, magical. I can't keep saying enough about it. It was so good.
And I loved, there's a lot of things that you could do, after the retreat, right? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we can't stay on a retreat forever.
Yeah. We really wanted to.
I really wanted to. I was like, no, I don't want to go home. But you can take some of these exercises and actually apply them in your daily life. 1, with yourself. 2, with people who you love. Yeah. And I mean, 3, you could even take them to, just meeting new people too. And experience that continued magic, and that's something, the hug exercise is something that I've actually been doing with my friends and my family. It's just nice and continued magic to be happy after the retreat is over. So that was nice to have those experiences that you could take with you.
Oh, for sure. And that one was a really good example of how, including within myself, and we all had a little bit of resistance to some of these. You notice this resistance when you're asked to do something that's very much on the edge of your learning curve, right? And we talked about that, like when we're pushed just a little bit further than we're comfortable, that's how we grow, because if we stay inside our box, we never grow. So everyone was definitely pushed a little outside their comfort zone, but when you do it all together, it's not scary.
No, it was really magical.
Because at first it is, but then it's like, oh, I can really lean into this because everyone else is doing it.
That's right.
And then that was one of the ways that you could just see the resistance, or I could feel my own resistance sort of breaking down, like, what? Oh, funny about that, about when we were asked to hug, everybody was thinking, I'm sweaty. Yep. I don't want anyone to hug me, but everyone was thinking, I'm sweaty. No one was thinking, you're sweaty. It's so, but just so funny. And then we would talk about that and laugh, like, I didn't want you to feel my sweat, but I wasn't worried about yours.
Right, and everybody was in that same boat of,
what about me?
And to realize that we all were thinking that, that again, it just embraces that connection because we're all the same. We're all thinking this here, and really not one person was, oh, it's about you.
Yeah, no.
It's like everyone was like, oh, it's about me.
Yeah.
And now I'm aware that I'm thinking these things. So
funny. And there's so many of those. I think that's one of the most magical things about the retreat. There was just multiple times when we all, including us, realized, oh, that thing that I do that I thought was just me, actually everybody's doing it, or everyone has some flavor of the same experience. So that was something that a lot of people mentioned, like, oh, whatever story it was that we shared, or that someone else had a similar story, and it just makes you feel so much less alone.
Right.
So now we had the good fortune of sharing rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people think, this is weird, I don't want to share a room, I want to, my private space, etc. And I've thought that myself, honestly. But the reason that Mike and I ended up sharing a room was because the resort was full. Like we had filled the retreat and there weren't any rooms left. So we're like, we're really good friends.
I'm
we're
so
like,
glad we did.
It turned out
not
to
have
be
been the same.
so much fun. And then Kelly shared a room with one
also.
of her good friends.
That's right.
And oh my gosh, it was hilarious. We were like middle school kids at camp.
Yes, we would just drop off to camp. That's right.
Giggling and just having the most funny, silly time. And then actually sharing a room was so fun. So if you do come to one of the retreats, don't rule that out. I mean, it's really another way to grow, because it's like, I don't know, you have to go to the bathroom in the same space and get changed. It's sort of a weird feeling, but when you break through that, it's so cool. I mean, I'm
so liberating. It's so freeing to realize, oh, no one really cares. It's all here. It's really amazing.
And and you realize, oh, everything's in my head. All these insecurities and qualms that we have about that with sharing a room with somebody else. One, the actual resort itself, it was set up. The space was really, it was a lot of space, but it respected a lot of privacy with, with sharing and stuff. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, it was just
let's talk about the rooms, actually, since we're still talking about the resort.
Oh, the hammocks.
Yeah, really beautiful. So, of course, we had rooms that had 2 queen beds and plenty of room. And then each room has a separate outdoor space, like a little sitting area with a hammock.
Right, so that was separate. If you want your alone time, and you still get your alone time, to recharge. If you're somebody who does recharge on your own, there's time and space for that, and literal space for that, even with sharing a room.
Yeah, it really is a luxurious property. I love the way they set that up. And they bring you little chocolates and little cookies like every day.
Amenities for you. Like,
what kind of cookies are we going to get today? Right. So really, really great in that respect. So, and that, now... after we stopped giggling, we finally went to sleep. A lot of people got up early, went to the gym, went on a beach walk. We had our first organized activity together at 8:30. So Shanti put the resort put yoga mats out like right on the edge of the beach. So you're looking at the water. And that morning he called the morning bliss meditation. So I have a funny story about how it was not yoga.
It was not yoga.
It was not.
It was not yoga.
Morning bliss.
So combination of movement. No, Shanti's movements are just sometimes some shaking, sometimes some jumping, some stretching,
some Tai Chi in there.
That's right.
We did some Tai Chi,
awesome.
But beautiful, just way to start the day with gratitude and fun, and then you're right on the beach, and then we moved in and had breakfast. So they had another fabulous meal.
Their breakfast was...
You couldn't eat it.
All the food was 10. Amazing.
I don't think I got to eat half of everything because everything was
trying everything. It was traditional, breakfast foods, but then some Costa Rican...
Yeah, they have one whole row of just Costa Rican style food.
Yeah,
which was amazing.
Cool to try.
And really yummy. And that was all sort of outside. And then we all sat at separate tables and had different conversations for breakfast. So people would have a conversation with Meg was doing some fun card reading. We were both doing some other things, and so people could sort of separate and
you could pick
chat.
What you wanted,
Some people sat by themselves. Very relaxed there, so there was nothing rushed about it because we had an hour and a half for breakfast, which we didn't need that much time, and people could relax afterwards. And then our first organized activity was with you.
With me.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
It was so
exciting.
It was exceeded any expectation that I had. It was so informative, and the circle of life. And I don't think I could do actually a good job explaining what that is. introduce
So,
it.
so the circle of life is
it.
really how we, my niche is really exercise and nutrition, right? And as I've trained people over the years, I realize, well, it's not just about their exercise and nutrition. If their home life or their career, their finance, all these things matter. So there's 12 pillars in the circle of life, and we try to balance our circle, right? And not everyone's circle's balanced, and different times of your life, they are balanced in different ways, right? Just looking at them and affirming that, hey, you're doing okay, your circle's almost balanced, and just try to bring more awareness to areas that are not balanced.
I loved it. I've never done that before. So if you think about, I've been to so many conferences, and you're in a conference room, they have these amazing small intimate meeting spaces and cushions on the floor, chairs, different seating suggestions for every type of body type or comfort level, but in an intimate sort of a circle. And so we sat and did this exercise, and it was beautiful. Like you said, it showed me. So I was like, oh, I'm really excellent in certain things. And then there was like a couple of room for opportunity, like cooking at home, for example.
Mine was cooking too.
Yeah, and I love cooking at home. It's like, and then you're like, well, why don't I do it more? I want to do it more. Like this, these might seem like silly things, but really important elements that add joy to your life, because the theme was happiness. So what aspects of your circle are preventing you from living to your full potential?
Exactly.
So I loved it. It was really interesting.
I love the balance aspect of it, because there's 12 pillars, and you can, the way Kelly has us do it is you can literally just see where it's not balanced in your life. And what I had realized is I was doing really great in some of the areas, and the areas where there was opportunity, it was nice to see that unbalance, because what I had done and have done in the past is where there's joy and happiness missing from my life, what I would do is try and overcompensate with the sections that were already at 100. I really like social life. Let's do this more. And I realized, that's not going to bring full circle happiness. It's like, okay, let's bring awareness to some areas like cooking at home.
Which
I also love. Okay, let's do that more, and you'll see with more balance, then you have more happiness. So that was nice to just see physically in a circle,
It just kind of goes back to the comfort, right? We seek comfort, but we really need to be seeking not to be comfortable, be uncomfortable to get more comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. We seek, like, if we're really good at exercise, we're good at one thing, so we're like killing that, and then half the other circle's like, caved in. So we really just see, I think when you visually see it, there's really accountability and responsibility there, because you're not just verbalizing, you're like, I can look at my circle and we are not balanced. Right. It's a good reminder.
It was. It was really helpful. And again, things you can take after the retreat and apply,
And then here's another thing. Like, we're just talking about this right now, and I had never thought about it that way. So, like, just the other ways that people experienced it, that is exactly what we do, right? We go do more of what we're good at, and less of what we're not, and then our wheel gets more and more wonky. So I love the idea of, like, the wonky wheel. It's like, it's not, it's going to chunk along.
It doesn't even move.
We get a flat tire sometimes.
So I'll drive on it anyway. It's probably fine.
So my wheel had a wonky bit. So, again, just like you said, it was all about, like, what aspects can I lean into more so that I'm pushing the boundaries of my wonky wheel out, or pushing the boundaries of my learning curve. And then after that, so everything had a fun element, and that was really fun doing that. Then we did cardio.
That's
drumming.
right. We did drumming. That's right.
Drumming.
And normally you do drums with a huge exercise ball and everything. So we kind of had to wing it with the chairs and the pillows. But it ended up being awesome because everyone was matched up, and so it was really just a lot of fun to try it that way. Just cathartically working out.
So it's exercise without you. We got so much exercise just in general, whether it was jumping or shaking or cardio.
Dancing, everything.
Dancing, so much dancing, without feeling like we were exercising. But if you looked at your steps or your ring, I mean, we were so much activity, but without feeling like we went to the gym. So cardio drumming, we'll show you some pictures. You're using drumsticks and like banging in time to the music and exercising and dancing. And it's just funny and silly and fun.
It was fun just to let it out. That was another form of happiness that's, different than joy, but just letting things out and just moving. And
there's something cathartic when you're hitting the drumsticks, and maybe it's a song that you like, that you're hearing. Cathartic. You're singing the music while you're doing it, and you're just beating it out. Next thing you know, you feel like a rock star. You're just flush with energy.
And there was something to be said. I didn't know I had some things to let out, but I'm like banging on these pillows. But everyone was really doing fun. It was so fun.
That was so fun. And then our first lunch, again, we didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I had trusted the resort to do a good job, and they really did an amazing job. They set it up in this private garden. Again, gorgeous. Food was fantastic. We had lots of time, and so there was nothing rushed about it.
That's a nice thing, too, because we did have extended time for meals. Some people, and everyone's different, right, where there's 25 people all together, and thinking like, oh my gosh, if you've never been on a retreat, like, is my time, is every hour allotted for it? And the answer is no. It's like, if you wanted to stay with the group, you can spend that whole time with the group. But if you're somebody who wants to recharge a little bit, get those micro recharges throughout the day, there's space for that. So you could go off and be alone, and you're welcomed and really encouraged to do what is going to recharge you.
Some people went and did some journaling after lunch. There's a lot of journaling going on because we kept having these experiences that we want to remember. So that was a really fun thing. Everyone had their journal the whole time. Yeah. People would be going to their room or going to a private space to do that because we, really, I didn't want to forget. So even just sort of talking about it again keeps it alive. And then in the afternoon, we had your activity, which was amazing. So after lunch,
it's all about manifesting. So that's fun, right? Activating happiness and through manifestation of bringing that fun and happiness, bringing it to you, and not just waiting around trying to, incessantly do different steps to be happy. It's bringing happiness to you. So.
Yeah, I love this. So I've spent quite a lot of time hearing your coaching method, but this was the first time I'd actually heard you do a 90-minute presentation, which sounds like a long time, but it goes like this.
It really did.
So Meg has this really cool way of, it was very three-dimensional. She had water classes and different things.
And the universe kept trying to get in there, couldn't get in.
And then a lot of audience participation things. So it is so different than like sitting in a classroom for an hour and a half. That sounds awful. We don't have PowerPoint slides or anything. We're literally walking around the room doing stuff. So it really makes it an experience because one of the things we said frequently was, this isn't something that we're going to tell you something and you have to believe it. Right. Try these different experiences and see if they work for you. So if they don't, toss them out, but if they do, great. And so it was very experiential. So everything about it was try this and see if it works. And so I really love that. Like that was such a amazing.
It was very interactive. Like audience participation, it was very interactive. Everyone felt again, by day 2, everyone's more comfortable with each other. Yeah. And after drumming, we're all sweating. We had lunch, and then Meg's came on. It was a perfect segue into, okay, let's talk about this. Here's the universe trying to bring you these things. How come you're not getting them? And everyone, it was really good sharing with everyone. I thought it was great.
There's so much power in sharing with a small group or a big group. There are spaces for both of those things throughout the whole weekend, and there's just so much power in journaling. Yes, too. There's some journal prompts, but also saying things out loud. Yeah. Right? Some things I even found myself saying out loud that I had never even really said before. Because you just get these epiphanies and realizations of, oh, I think this is, it's just consciousness of, this is what's going on in my life. And it's just powerful. And it's so powerful to watch people open up. And
there's one, the thing that I think I remember the most about your talk, which I haven't heard you say before, and then as happens, when you hear something, then, you see it again and again and again. Yeah. And this is part of what you talk about all the time. One of the things she was showing was if you're with this 3-dimensional display, like if your lid is on, how are you going to get what you need from the universe? And so I'm like, I never thought about it that way. And then we talked about different ways that we're closed down. And so we're not going to be able to connect if we're closed. And then we heard a song that talked about happiness being a room without a roof.
Yes. Right. Our spiritual teacher,
Pharrell. We're like, wow. There, like you just see it everywhere. Like a room without a roof. I'd never really thought about that.
Yeah.
No
where
lid.
Are you blocking your own happiness?
Right. All the different ways. And so I've had that image in my head ever since we left about what are different ways that I am putting my lid on or closing myself off. Yeah. And one of the other things was about personal responsibility. Like we're not blaming other people, but what am I doing? So how am I putting my lid on? So that was so meaningful. And then sure enough, it popped up 4 times, right? Yeah. Kept seeing it or hearing it in music. And like, wow.
Interesting, huh?
Pharrell Williams thought of that too.
Yeah. And if Pharrell Williams, if it's good enough for Pharrell.
Right. So just so many little memorable elements, and super interesting to ask everybody what their one thing they remembered was, because it would be different, I imagine, for each person.
Sure. Everyone has a different takeaway because you go with a different, we set intentions the first night with Shanti, and everyone's intention is different. And really, if you're new to intentions, it's really just saying, what do you want to experience in this next couple of days? Like, why are you here? What are you looking for? And with everybody setting a different intention, everyone experiences something different.
Yeah, you find what you're looking for.
Right, exactly. You always find what you're looking for. So by identifying, hey, what am I looking for? You find it. And so you search for things because that's how your brain works. It looks for ways to support what you want to discover. And that's why everyone has a unique lens. So everyone gets something different out of their retreat. So I don't think we could say, this is what you're going to get out of the retreat. Ask yourself, what do you want to get out of the retreat? Yeah. And the retreat is a way for you to find that.
Yeah, so. That definitely happened for me. Yeah. So that was another example of how we got to go to your talk. So we were also guests at the retreat.
Yes.
Which was really fun. So we were all... Shanti uses the word of horizontalized.
Yes,
I
do too.
Everyone was the same, so it wasn't like, okay, we're the teachers, you're the students. And we got to be students in your talk, and I got to be students.
That was the best way, I think. All the retreats I've ever attended, that's the way from now on. It's amazing.
Yeah, everyone's the same. We were all just travelers on the same journey. It wasn't in any way we were different than anyone.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Saturday afternoon, we had a nice break. Most people went to the spa. Some people went on a beach walk. They had paddle boards, a lot of different just relaxing activities.
The pool. The pools.
Yes, so nice.
Just chilling, whatever, free time. And so that was nice to have a big block of free time. What did we do that afternoon? I think we just sat in the pool and talked.
I think it was that the pool day? I think it was.
It all blends together.
It all does blend together.
Maybe.
Some kind of fun.
And
then another wonderful dinner. Now, on Saturday night, there's so many spaces. They have this fantastic covered patio. So there was a beautiful dinner. Fantastic food. And then we had... I'm not going to scare you with saying what Shanti called it, but a special kind of dancing, which was quite amazing. I mean, I've done this before, but never with that many people. So I'll just say it was just a special kind of dancing, but in no way dancing for anyone else. So Shanti said...
Absolutely not, yes.
Not dancing to perform, dancing to be delicious.
Yes.
For yourself.
I loved that.
Dancing to be delicious.
And I will say this. I don't think anybody at the retreat would know this, having... experienced me dancing with them, but I actually am extremely self-conscious when it comes to dancing. You would not know that based on what we did together, but if you're someone who's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to come because I don't like to dance, you can do anything to the degree of what you're comfortable with and where you want to reach that, right? But I'm telling you, from somebody, just even from a personal experience of, I do not like to dance in front of people, to the end of the night, it was just completely transformative. And I did not feel weird or self-conscious about it at all.
Because everyone was doing the same thing.
Right.
So one of the, I'll just tell you one of the secrets to breaking this down was we actually danced for the 30 minutes blindfolded. So, and then also we're invited, you could go in a corner with your eyes closed. I mean, there was not any way that we were dancing for someone else. In fact, the invitation was not to talk to anyone and not to really look at anyone, just to do your own thing. But so in that space, you really can experiment. I mean, I was doing all kinds of movements that were just made up.
And you'd be thinking, how would I do it? But we all had yoga mats on the floor. Right. So your feet could kind of touch the mat. If you were wondering where am I in the space, you could stay kind of controlled and focused for people that were kind of, like, I don't know about this. Yeah. And it really made it freeing. Because you're like, okay, here's my zone, and I can just go crazy in my zone. Yeah. It was fabulous.
One interesting thing, because of course at any time anyone could leave if they wanted to, but nobody left.
No.
Everybody stayed for the whole thing. Because I think once you start experiencing that, it's so delicious. You don't want to leave.
The joy that you felt, like from freedom. You can't see and no one can see you, and it was amazing. Everyone made comments about that. Actually, that was one of the favorite dance nights.
Yeah,
they loved it.
It was magical, and the way everything is just energetically curated from the first day to the second day, into the next day. it opens you up,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're kind of ready for it.
Yes.
By the time it gets there, you know?
Everything was just a tiny bit uncomfortable, but not too uncomfortable.
That's right. That's right.
It just is like tiny little baby steps to to fun.
Yeah, and then that was a lot of exercise. I remember looking at my ring, my Aura ring. It was like,
no, 10,000.
What are you doing?
I know. Dancing is not on the list. It said you did 2 hours of moderate something or other. Like, but it was dancing.
Yeah.
It was so fun because my heart rate was actually in zone 2 for
it was.
It
was
was
awesome.
It was a great zone 2 workout. And then, of course, lots more giggling and finally going to sleep. The second day, Sunday, was a similar format. So we did the fantastic on the beach exercise, and this one was a specific gratitude practice, which I absolutely love. So we were led through some different music and
very powerful.
Yeah, and I will say it's also we're in kind of a treed cove right before the beach, so it was cool enough, a breeze enough, and shade. But you're at the beach and you can hear the ocean, you can hear the birds, but you're completely shaded in this little grassy area. It was perfect.
It was very multi-sensory,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which opens you up
things,
to just receiving so much more out of that moment, and helps you be present.
Yeah, I had. We all did have different experiences with. Now we're not hypnotized, but I'll just say similar in that way that your mind is so open with all this preparation and relaxation and sounds and everything that you can remember things that you had not remembered for a long time. There was one prompt to remember something really joyful from childhood, and I remembered something so fun that I had never remembered in the past, and so that got to be a funny theme because I remembered pretending to be a pony when I was about 5, and I would jump around my backyard, pretending to be a pony, and it was such a beautiful memory, and so now we have a shirt saying "I love my pony." It was just a great memory, and so some of us have a story. I do about my childhood was like this, and actually, it wasn't like that. It just opens you up to having more clarity around. There was actually a lot of joy and a lot of good times, and then it just such a beautiful thing just to remember, bring to mind all the people and the things that have brought you joy over the many years and having gratitude.
Yeah, it was fabulous for that, especially just the scene that we were laying in and the noise and then the music and his prompts really. And again, you're just, your eyes can be open if you want. You're just looking at the beautiful sky and the trees and the blue sky above you, but you're really like just thinking all these beautiful thoughts. Again, we've been prepared for several days, and this joy, the feeling, the overwhelming feeling that you get. It was magical. Magical.
Yeah, so now we're happy. Like I said, what is this feeling I'm having? It's like, I feel happy. I'm truly, I cannot think of an exception. I have never felt happier, ever.
I will agree, and I'm typically a happy person.
Yeah.
But what I also realized was similar to Kelly's circle of life. I think I was over happy in certain outlets of happiness, like joy. When I'm saying there's all these other parts of being happiness that I think I maybe had been neglecting. When you start to fill in those parts, it's like, whoa, I'm overjoyed, right? I'm just overly stimulated with happiness. It's like, oh, I didn't know I could be happy in this way.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just very encompassing, and just you feel like elevated, like out of body experience, kind of whoa, I'm just really happy.
Because it really was just there was no judgment, and once you're able to let your guard down and realize that this was about a journey for yourself, and these people were all in the same similar journeys, but it was just about your own journey. You could lay on the mat, and during the gratitude, and it was just the experience. Everyone, when they got up, were smiling. Their face felt like just happy and just wrinkleless, and they were just like joyful. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that was great. And you can do, like Mike said, you can do this at home. So now I've been doing every day, just bringing to mind, many of us have done gratitude practices, writing in a journal. I think that's also great. But I love this particular way of actually bringing it to mind and experiencing the feeling that went along with it. So it's kind of like a little bit more than just writing down.
Right.
I've done the writing down what I'm grateful for, and that is a really good thing to do. Or even saying it out loud, also great. But this was experiencing the feeling again. Like, what did it feel like when you were 5?
Yeah.
Pretending to be a pony, and it just made me laugh. Like I could feel that feeling, and so you can go home and do that at home.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I actually, like many of us, Thanksgiving week got kind of stressed out about some things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop and remember, and you could feel that feeling again. So throughout the weekend, I think there are all these different ways of remembering how to cultivate happiness for yourself when you want to.
Right.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be in a beautiful space
Yeah.
with amazing people in another country. You take these
You
things
can
home
actually
with
do that,
you
right.
to truly
and really you
change.
have to, because if you don't use it, just like a muscle in your body, you lose it.
Yeah.
If you don't practice that happiness, practice looking for it and cultivating it here, you can't get it from anywhere else. You think you can, but you can't.
Yeah.
You've got to cultivate it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could go to this retreat and just have a really great time.
Yep.
And that would be awesome. But it was more than that. Like that, yes, you have a really great time, and then you could potentially, if you wanted to, bring those skills home and actually make your life different at home in a better way. So I've definitely found that to be true, and it is a practice. It's like you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun, and then we had another beautiful breakfast with wonderful conversations. And then Sunday, then we had my session.
Talk. That's right.
Which was
it was amazing.
It was.
Which was about intimacy. So I think everyone thought I was going to talk about sex, and we kind of did, but it went all
for a split second.
It was different than that. I had a good time with that.
It was again exceeded expectations. Where you. I think everybody did arrive thinking, oh, it's going to be just in this one lane.
Yeah.
Right? But similar to everything else, it's like, it's not just this one part. It's let's open you up to all these parts that breed a really good, intimate experience, one with yourself and then with others, right? Everything was kind of like, you have to do your part, right? Going back to that responsibility, it's like you can't expect other people to do something or be a part of this if you're not going to look within first. So being able to sit there in that space and really face some things that maybe you had been ignoring. I know I had a lot of realizations where, whoa, yeah, I do that. And that is, something that I've been blaming on other people. And if you're sitting there like waiting around for other people to do the change, you can't be happy because it's like it's out of your control. And it's just, is this going to happen? Is it not? And to be able to accept the responsibility for your own happiness and for your own, what your desire is with intimacy, it's just really empowering.
Yeah.
Is what I felt, like just truly empowered of like, whoa, yes, this makes sense. I'm ready to, change my life. I loved that.
We did some exercises where we practiced connecting, but in a funny way. I mean, not scary. I think there was a lot of laughter, and I certainly made fun of myself. And
tangible examples.
Yes,
we'll call it.
Yes, tangible
told
examples.
some silly stories about
the field research.
Yes, lots of field research.
About stupid stuff I've done, and laughing, the ability to laugh at yourself and not to blame things on other people. And then had a really beautiful moment of connection at the end where everybody got really got to know each other in a special way. And I think after that, everyone was, really melted down to, Jello with everybody.
Right.
Had a lovely lunch. And then we did a group activity in the afternoon, which was so beautiful.
It was so nice.
Yeah.
That Shanti led.
Yes.
Very powerful.
Very powerful. It was hard even when we were preparing to visualize how it was going to go. Right? But we all just trusted the process. Okay, let's just go with it. And I think everyone, including myself, felt the same way. Just hearing it and visualizing it, and everyone's back was to each other, and the freedom to hear the words that were spoken was just powerful. Yeah. Very powerful. And that's the word that came to my mind.
Yeah, that was another really powerful event that a lot of people had said that they loved.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to do that again.
I know.
Yeah, so just to not give away all the secrets, but it was an exercise around forgiveness and just letting go and cleansing ourselves. And like Kelly said, hearing everybody say these words in your ear, like, I love you, I forgive you. Mm-hmm. Sorry. I mean, it's beautiful. And at the end, I was like, wow. I realized that there were some things that I hadn't forgiven myself for, but hearing other people say, I forgive you, I forgive you. It's like, wow, maybe I can forgive myself.
Exactly.
I mean, really, really beautiful. That was really beautiful.
And again, things you could take with you after the retreat and do these things with yourself and then with anybody in your life. So that, I think, is going to be really helpful for people.
Yeah, that's an amazing practice that you can do anytime. And then after all this amazing stuff, on Sunday night we went on a catamaran cruise for sunset, which,
Beautiful.
oh my gosh,
that was the way to end it. That was so nice.
Here we go. What's happening? I don't know what about.
So 60-foot catamaran, huge boat, so there was so much room. Like you could put 10 people on each trampoline in the front, and then there's seats in the back. So not at all crowded in this beautiful indoor space as well.
And delicious snacks.
They had great food and a great
the
open
sunset
bar. And
was just...
The clouds parted for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, with the mountains. And I've seen beach sunsets before, and this is my first time in Costa Rica. And again, exceeded expectations, where I almost didn't come home. And it was just, you've seen a sunset on the beach, sure, and it's, that alone is just stunning, but with the mountains and the trees and just...
It was amazing.
Watching the sun just sink into the ocean as we were just so close to it, it was amazing.
So a couple of people had told me, I don't know about boats, I get seasick and so on. But this is this really protected little cove, so the water is like glassy and it literally just flat.
And some of y'all went in the water.
Yeah, that's right. Some went swimming.
So you could, they anchored the boat for maybe 30 minutes. And so some of us jumped in. Did the jumping off. So swimming in the water when the sun was going down, it's very safe. There's no creatures there that can hurt you. It was amazing just to swim in the water as it was getting dark. That wasn't required, but some of us did. And then came back in the dark, which was so cool because the stars were like...
Oh, it was beautiful.
Never seen stars like this, so I haven't. So we were sailing back to the resort in the dark, black sky. I mean, just so beautiful.
It really was.
I think that was... I don't know if we asked people to put things in order, that would certainly be close to the top. There was no organized activities on the boat. It was just free time just to connect, because at this point we were all friends and we'd met people. We wanted to ask more about them and tell me more about you, and just so much great conversation.
Yeah.
And then another great dinner, and then another evening activity. This one was so beautiful.
I love dance. Like the art of dance.
We were asked to provide our favorite dance song or a song that was inspirational, and so then it was put together into a playlist and played in random order, so we didn't know when our song was going to pop up.
So good.
But when each person's song came up, they were like, it's my song. And it was so fun to celebrate with Kelly, your favorite little dance song.
That's right.
So we played 25 songs, and everyone got to have their special song. It was amazing.
I love that whole thing, because at that point in time, everyone's just
now
free and dancing.
Now, night 3 of dancing, everyone's like dancing shoes everywhere.
Yeah, dancing everywhere, which was so fun. But it was, I don't even know if there's a word for this, but when you see somebody else really happy, it makes you happy.
Yes.
What is that?
It's infectious.
I don't know.
It's infectious
amazing. Happiness.
Yes.
Because the joy that would come on someone's face and body and dance, when their song came on, and then they would get in the middle and just be so happy. It just made you so happy to be happy, to see them so happy, and then you're happy and just, climbing this happiness ladder.
Yeah.
So cool.
I've heard that described before as sympathetic joy, meaning you're having joy with another person.
Yeah.
When somebody's joyful, and all of us can do this, like when you see a baby laughing, but we don't often do it with other adults. In fact, I'll just say it's sort of human nature to have a little bit of jealousy when someone else is
happy,
really happy. You can be like, oh, why don't I have that? And that's a natural, nothing wrong with you. I feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But this was like a great experience of just having complete joy for someone else's joy.
It was really cool.
And
it was so good.
A lot of the songs we knew all the words and stuff.
Also, I think it kind of brought you memories back to and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that song too. I should have picked that one too. Or like, so then you have these commonalities with people that you didn't. I mean, you live on different sides of the country. All of a sudden, you're like, wait a minute, I remember that too.
I like this song.
I was in this grade, or I was.
I should have picked this one.
Yeah, that's a really great playlist.
Yeah.
So another 2 hours of Zone 2 exercise.
Our rings are going crazy.
So we got so much movement, just so much movement. So speaking of that, like, this, diet and exercise, no, we had great nutrition and healthy movement, and the whole thing was so healthy. I only actually went to the gym once, but I think I got more exercise than I usually do at home.
I know.
I definitely ate healthier and fantastic. More, I probably ate twice as much food as usual, but healthier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so super healthy. And, now Sunday night, so many things had happened in such a short time. more giggling, more staying up late, giggling,
Yes.
because we're just couldn't stop smiling, and then had happy dreams. Like it's really interesting. And then my ring is saying that I'm getting good deep sleep. I mean, just so many ways your physiology is changing, just the nervous system coming down from being stressed and into like relaxation. And I mean, some of it, like we've talked about, was sort of the joy, kind of like the really high happiness, and some of it was just content, just the I just feel good, but on a very calm,
relaxed is a form of happiness. Relief is a form of happiness. Like all these things that we kind of go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Just again putting intention behind, let's experience relaxation for a little bit, and just building your whole circle of happiness. You know?
Yeah, it was really, we just went through all of that. And then on Monday, we had another beautiful happiness activation activity in the morning, and then a really fun closing circle. And we kind of never know how these are going to go, but it would be different next time. It won't be like this, but we were just sort of raining love on everybody. It was amazing. And then as people were leaving, we'd go and hugs and getting them on their bus to go back to the airport. We actually stayed an extra day, and a lot of the guests did too. Probably half of the guests stayed. Yeah. So we didn't have any organized programs for the last day. It was just complete relaxation. We went to the spa twice because it was so good.
Yeah, and beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
The outdoor massage was the best.
Yeah, just beautiful. I mean, you're in this covered space where you can hear the birds singing, and then you had one where you went in when it was light and walked out into the sky.
Yes, it was so magical. Again, there's no light pollution, so when you walked out, it was just like black. You were leaving and it was just black, and there's so many stars in the sky. It was fabulous.
And then we sat at the beach in the evening and just looked at the stars and just talked about happiness and love and gratitude till late at night, and then had a wonderful sleep and got on the plane and came home.
Yeah, it was.
But I actually experienced, even going to the airport and being on the plane, I felt different. Like I was a little bit less frustrated, a little bit, like the little things that happen at the airport. I'm like,
I think our plane was delayed a little bit.
Yeah, we got to sit on the tarmac for an hour. We're like, oh, well,
yeah, it was different. Whereas maybe normally it would be like, oh, this is, whatever.
Yeah, we were in that very happy space.
Right, it was just happy because it's like, right,
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's always a experience coming home, and then of course you've got to go back to work, and everyone else in the world didn't go to the retreat, so they're not seeing things quite the same way you are. So there's a little bit of a
integration.
Yes, potential jarring when you come back from retreat. But we talked about different ways to manage that as well, not to sort of jump right into all of your emails and texts, and then to sort of keep doing the practices. And so now, we're a couple of weeks after the retreat now, and still here. Even just talking about it, I can still have those feelings come back. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I think we achieved the goal of activating happiness.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And you could feel it. You could really, even when we were leaving, like you were saying earlier about someone's happiness, you could see as people were telling each other goodbye, like they were truly like happy to have met them and like happy to share in their joy. Yeah. And it was so magical because from the first day to I don't know you, I feel like this, to now like, hold on a minute, let me give you one more big embrace. Let me be with you one more time.
Hug.
It was really beautiful. Again, it was 4 days. How do you know someone? I mean, but you really got to know people, and it was really, you didn't feel alone. You felt, it was magical.
And then we were all connected on a WhatsApp group, so we're all back and forth sending each other pictures and inspirational words and things. And I'm certain that there are some really true friendships that have developed out of this that will be ongoing. Right. And then immediately everyone's like, when's the next one? So the next one is officially April 19th through the 23rd.
So it's a little longer this time.
Yes. We added an extra day because nobody wanted to leave.
Right.
So we're just going to do all of what we just said, but for just a little bit longer. Because, gosh, you could just do it forever, but one extra day. So we booked it. We put down the deposit, the same location.
Oh, it's going to be magical.
It's not officially on sale yet, but we have already got quite a few people on the list to come back. So if you want to do that, you can connect with me and just send me an email and we'll hold a spot for you. Or do you have some early bird pricing? I anticipate it's going to sell out quickly because we really don't want to have more than 25 people. I think that was just a perfect
Right.
number.
That was a great
so,
number.
too.
Yeah,
It
too
allows
many.
for connection. And
Yeah, it was just the right number and not too many. I think it was perfect number.
Well, like Meg said in the beginning, is that we have everything prepared, what we think, how we think it's going to go. We set our intention for the whole retreat. But it's actually the group's energy that makes the retreat special, right? So 25 is the perfect number.
I agree.
Too many, it would be a little bit too chaotic.
Right.
It's perfect.
It's
And
intimate.
The program won't be the same. There'll be various elements that are similar, but even if we had the exact same program, it would be completely different.
That's right.
The weather would be different. The people would be different. Something else would happen. People are coming in with a different set of conditions from their home, so your mind state's different. So there's never the same retreat twice.
That's right.
So what we told you would be totally different. And also some similarities. We got the same catamaran. We actually asked for the same crew. Because
they were so good.
We got the same crew. I don't know if I told you that.
That's good.
Same boat, same crew. They were so fun.
Yeah.
And so we're going to repeat some of those things. So if you have ever thought about doing something like this, I just hope you'd say yes. Because I just saw, and I felt this way myself, like everybody I think would say the same thing, that nobody regrets going, ever. Like nobody ever regrets going.
No.
Yeah.
And it truly can change your life. And so, you have these opportunities. And there's lots of retreats you could go to. I mean, choose one that suits you. If this sounds like it suits you, please come. Even if you're shy, even if you think some of those things sound scary, especially. Right.
If you're shy or think they sound scary.
Because you'll change, you'll transform. And I think a lot of people have qualms about going alone or thinking everybody's going to be there with a friend.
Yeah,
and most people...
No, they weren't.
Most people do show up alone and you walk away with 25 friends, you know? And it's a magical experience and just something to do for yourself, right? All these reasons why you can't go of, my family needs me, or I can't step away from work, or whatever it is. It's like all these are ways that your ego, your mind is trying to trick you into not doing something that could beneficially change you forever.
Yeah.
And because it's scary, right? So just knowing, hey, your mind's going to try and talk you out of, no, you don't deserve this or whatever it is. It's like, no, dig a little deeper and say, hey, is this something that I know I deserve and can do for myself and is a little out of my comfort zone, but I'm willing to take that step? If those answers are, yeah, I think so, then come join us.
You have to remember, self-care is not selfish. You have to fill your cup first. So however you're filling your cup, so you can give to others. So this is just one example of learning more about yourself and filling your own cup, so then you can be there for others. Right? All these other things that you're thinking, like you said, work and family responsibility, they're still going to be there when you get back.
That's right.
Self-care is productive.
That's right.
It really is. So, well, I just got all happy again just talking
I
to
know.
Me too.
So,
I'm so excited.
I know. I'm like, is it April yet?
We can't wait to go. We're going to be there.
Oh, it'll be so fun. Join us.
And Shanti, we love you, Shanti.
Yeah.
Shanti is going to come too. So he'll be there again with his magical superpowers of happiness.
Yeah.
And we hope you'll join us as well. So we'll put, we don't have it for sale officially yet. I'll put a link to how to connect with me if you want to get on the pre-sign-up list. And then there'll be a sign-up hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We're going to throw the whole thing together again, and here we go again.
Yeah,
we're going to do this again. And then I'm sure we'll do it again and again because it's just good.
It'll be a thing that we do. This is just part of who we are now.
This is it. Again, this is what we learned.
Yeah, we do happiness retreats. So I hope you liked this episode. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, and I can't wait to see you next week.